Batman, bonus Batman, bonus Batman, bonus Batman, Bonanza.
What's up, everyone? I'm Shafi Malik, and you're listening to the Who Got the Popcorn podcast. The premise is different tonight, as we're going to be talking about caped crusader himself, the Batman. That's right, we've seen Matt Reeves' take on the titular hero on opening night, and we're going to discuss it as well as other Batman things. Joining us tonight is Dave McHugh.
I'm not upset. I'm brooding.
Andy Newlands.
Hello, Christopher Robin.
And all the way from the somewhat north of England, Kyle Hammond.
What killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age!
I think you watched the wrong film, Carl.
Oh, shit.
In moments like this, I really wish that I wasn't hosting, because then someone could sort of say my name.
And hosting us tonight is Shafi Malik.
Baby, I compare you to a kiss from a rose on the grave. Ooh, the more I get of you, the stranger it feels. Yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. All right, sorry. Here's your warning. We'll be going into heavy spoilers. So if you haven't seen the film, we suggest you watch the film before listening to this. So before we start talking about this film, I thought I would we would just talk about what we do like and what we don't like about Batman, as in these sort of expressions or like the spectrum of Batman. So I guess on one end of the spectrum is like the Batman 66 and the sort of Tim Burton stuff, and then kind of the other side is like the Nolan. I guess in between that is the comic books and the video games, even the TV show and like that. So we'll start with you, Andy. So out of, regarding films, TV, video games, comic books, animated TV shows and animated films, what's been your favorite sort of expressions of Batman?
All right, so when I was a kid, playing Batman on the PS1 was just unbelievable. Like, I remember, it's so mad actually watching this film. Has made me think, like, I love Batman. I absolutely love Batman. I always thought my Spider-Man was my sort of hero, superhero, but it's not. It is Batman. Like, when I was growing up, it was wrestling, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and Batman. So, yeah, look at that. Yeah, see what Kyle's got there. Like,
so
playing with the Batman toys.
To the viewers, basically, Kyle's getting all of his collection of Batman dolls out.
He's not actually mine, my kids.
All right, nice. Okay. I think I've got one as well then.
I had like Batman pajamas, I had a Batman duvet. I just thought the guy was so cool. I remember watching there was like cartoon. I'm sure there was like loads of quality animated cartoons when I was little watching Batman.
His animated series was 7 years old? When we were 7?
Is it?
It's sort of early 90s, really early 90s.
Was it 1990, Shafi?
1992. It was the same year as Batman Returns.
Okay.
Yeah, and like when you're, looking at Ethan now, like, when you're 7 and 8, and you're so like, you so look forward to watching this stuff on TV, like, so that was that. And then in terms of the films, the Tim Burton stuff, those movies have stuck with me. Like, I've just got such an affinity for those movies, and even now, like, you can slag these films off all you like, but when I was young and stuff, it was amazing, because then you got to go to Toys R Us in the UK or whatever, and you buy the bloody Batmobile, and you go home and you would be Batman for a bit, and just, it was great. It's just, Batman's such a wonderful, like, story, and like when you're a kid, because of all the different villains and everything and the equipment, you can just sort of get lost in it. So yeah, TV shows, not so much comics. PlayStation, anything I could really just immerse myself in, really. But the toys were a massive part of that, like just playing with the toys.
Nice.
That's where I found my love for him. And then I watched a George Clooney movie and fell out of love for a little bit. But now it's back.
How about you, Dave?
Well, for me, I liked Batman, the 89, and I liked Batman Returns when I was younger, but watching them recently, I've gone off them a little bit. I'm not crazy about them now.
When did you watch them recently? Whenabouts?
Maybe like this year, probably. I honestly think it was maybe this year. So I've sort of watched the quadrilogy quite recently. And yeah, there's parts of it that I like. It's just a bit weird, the films for me. I just don't know where, the first and second are pretty good. And then the third one, I'm actually quite a fan of in a weird way. I've got a bit of a soft spot for it. And the fourth one is just awful. But yeah, I just don't know what it was. When I watch the Batman movies now, I'm just a bit like, I'm just not too sure. I just don't get them. I don't really know where they're coming from tonally. But it's weird. For me, I love the trilogy. I love the Nolan trilogy. I am a huge fan of the Nolan trilogy. I'm an absolutely huge fan of the sort of cartoon from the early 90s. Computer games, I haven't really played many Batman computer games, but I think I would like to sort of play a SNES one. The Arkham game was pretty cool, but that's the only one I've played. So for me, Batman is all about...
Which one? Arkham Asylum?
Yeah, that sort of one from 2009. I didn't mind it. So I wouldn't mind maybe playing like a modern one where you've got the whole sort of sandbox world where I could become Batman, because I do spend a lot of my time pretending I'm Batman for a ridiculous amount of time.
Arkham City was...
Yeah, I need to
wait,
try
why are we skirting over the fact that you pretend to be Batman?
Yeah,
what do you mean by that?
Well, like when I'm not myself, I'm probably Batman, aren't I? So I always just imagine myself standing on the top of the Fort Regent Dome, just looking down over St. Helier. That's how I roll. I just love the idea of that.
But instead of the cape and cowl, you're in your dressing gown.
Well, yeah, I guess, and then I get arrested. But yeah, no, I just feel like I'm kind of Batman.
Just going back to like when you first started talking, so does that mean you prefer Batman Forever to those first two Batman films?
No, I guess it's sort of I prefer them more than most people would. Say what the average score for Batman Forever is, I would probably give it a little bit higher. Whereas average score for Returns and the original, I'd be a bit like a bit below the average in my own personal score. I don't know what it is. I just don't particularly enjoy them. I don't know. They should be really enjoyable, but there's something about it I don't enjoy.
What is it about the Batman Forever that you like then?
No,
please don't say I just can't explain it.
I must stress I don't like it. I've got a just strange soft spot for it. And it's
why though? Why?
It's just quite enjoyable. Like that opening sequence with the I feel like they just really go for it. They kind of steal that safe and they fill it with acid and stuff. And I'm just like, wow, this is really quite fun. It's just quite a fun film, Batman Forever. And but ultimately it's pretty shit.
They Fast and Furious 5 before Fast and Furious 5.
Yeah. And it's just like, he crashes the helicopter into the Statue of Liberty and just jumps out of it. And, it's just the ending is so over the top and stuff. I don't know why. There's something about it that I quite like. It kind of warms my heart in a strange way. And I think Statue of Liberty is quite good. Yeah, like towards the start, they kind of crashes into
Gotham.
it. Yeah.
Well, by the way, can we just say to the viewers right now, I should have said it at the beginning that we are no way Batman experts. But so let's say Dave just said Batman crashed in the Statue of Liberty. There might be some Batman fans going, well, actually, no, it's actually the statue in Gotham. Yeah. Okay, cool.
But that's the thing with Batman. It's so inconsistent, isn't it? There's so many Batmans, and there's the DC Batman. There's just so many. So being an expert on Batman is
there's a Marvel Batman as well, is there, Dave? What do you fucking mean? There's a DC Batman.
There's a DC Batman.
Well, I don't know.
Really?
But there is. But there are. Okay,
Moon Knight is Marvel Batman, isn't he?
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like there's so many different sorts of types of Batman, and sometimes there's a Batman that even has a gun and stuff. It's just mad.
Batman in Jersey, a full Regent.
Exactly.
How about you, Kyle? Then what your where's the spectrum of
So
where
I
you
love
where do you
the man. I think probably one of the first films I ever watched was the '66 Batman film. I love the TV show. 'Cause that used to be on whatever channel, like repeated when we were kids.
Like the original 60s TV
66,
show.
yeah, not the racist
Yeah.
1940s show. I've never seen that. But yeah, and I proper loved the film. I wanted to rewatch the '66 film before this, but I couldn't find anywhere to do it, so well, for free anyway.
I didn't even know there was a 1940s TV show. Blimey.
Yeah, it's pretty grim. It's pretty grim. Like if you watch it, Jesus Christ, it's crazy. But anyway,
I watched something on that on YouTube tonight.
Yeah, I remember when '89 came out, I really wanted to go to see it at the cinema, and I wasn't old enough. I remember my mum trying to bribe the lady at the Odeon to let me go and watch it, but she didn't. But then when I eventually did watch it, to be honest, I was quite cold to it. I was just like, this is too dark. Same with Batman Returns as well. And even the 1992 TV show didn't really connect with it at all.
Oh, really? Wow.
I actually remember, I think it was Mark's birthday party and we were over at Mark's house. And I remember it had sort of just come out a week earlier. And I remember kind of telling everyone, by the way, guys, have you all watched this new Batman show? And everyone was like, yeah, it's fucking amazing, But yeah, go on. Sorry.
Yeah, I never really connected with that. So did we go watch Batman Forever? I definitely saw it at the cinema with someone. I assume it was you.
Who are you pointing at?
Sorry, yeah. Visual medium of a podcast. Yeah, you, Shafi.
I know I saw it in the cinema, and I know I was really hyped about it, and I had a poster in my bedroom as well, like a really big poster of that, that cover and stuff. So I know I was watching cinema, but I can't remember who I watched it with, but yeah.
And I really liked it. I even bought the VHS of that. I've not seen it for a long time, so I'm sure if I watched it now, I'd probably think it was absolute bullshit. Yeah, obviously Batman and Robin, didn't like. No one did. That was so disappointing because you're like, fucking hell, Arnie's in it. This is going to be amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, no good. Love the Nolan films. Batman Begins is my favourite Batman film out of all of them. That's your hot take.
Wow.
Better than Dark Knight.
You're not alone in that.
Nice.
I even like Dark Knight Rises. I think that's a great film.
I love the Dark Knight Rises. You've got to watch it a few times, but I love the Dark Knight Rises.
I've seen on Twitter, Shafi, that people have been ranking them, and they've all been saying that Batman Returns is amazing and the Dark Knight Rises is crap. I'm like, Batman Returns, it's not even a fucking Batman film. He's barely in it. It's a film about Catwoman and about Christopher Walken being a politician and Christmas. Nah, not for me. Not really bothered about it. Yeah, Arkham games. So played all the Arkham games. I even liked the one that no one else liked, which was Arkham Origins. Really liked that game. Just thought some great boss battles with Deathstroke and stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah, then obviously Snyder.
What about?
I love the Snyder Batman.
Anime?
I think Ben Affleck's a great Batman, but those films aren't great, obviously. Animated films, yeah, I've seen quite a few of them. Dark Knight Returns 1 and 2, Red Hood, Killing Joke.
Oh, so you're talking about the animated
films, yeah. I think some others as well. Phantasm, Mr. Freeze 1.
Is it worth watching that Phantasm film?
Oh, mate, well, if you love the Batman
on my research
show,
for tonight, it was amazing. Like
people rank that as like the best Batman film ever. Like even over the live action ones.
I'm going to check it out.
Yeah, Mask of the Phantasm. So, I mean, when I've been talking about, I didn't really connect with the show. I love the show now. It was just a bit dark for me as a kid. That's probably it then, isn't it? So, yeah, I've seen quite a few of them. Some of them are pretty good. You didn't like The Dark Knight, did you? Sorry, The Dark Knight Returns, Shafi. You didn't like that 1 and 2, did you?
I don't. Yeah, you said that. I haven't seen them.
Well, I remember saying I really liked it, and you were like, "Oh, shit." Or...
Maybe because I
just well as Batman. Maybe it's quality.
Maybe because I just have a judgment over just the general animation quality of those types of films. But anyway, we don't need to get into that now. But yeah,
Batman Year One as well. That's a good film. I only watched that because Bryan Cranston is Gordon, and the guy that played Gordon in Gotham plays Batman in that. I forgot his name. The guy from the OC.
You only watched it because Bryan Cranston was playing Gordon.
Well, this was like 2011, so I was well into Breaking Bad at the time. So
interesting.
Nice.
And
I watched half of series 1 of Gotham, and then
Gotham, the TV show. Yeah,
I've not watched Pennyworth or any of that stuff.
let's move on to the Batman then. Okay, so
Sorry, what about you, Shafi? What about your history with the Batman?
okay. Oh, no one cares.
Have you seriously? Because have you read any of the comics? Because I know you're into the comics.
Okay, so so basically, for the views, like I am basically like a me and Kyle are boxing fans, and what the term that we give to those people that sort of every now and then sort of tune into a Anthony Joshua fight or a Tyson Fury fight, we call them casual fans. So I am basically a casual Batman fan in the fact that, I mean, I've read like the big kind of comics. So Dark Knight Returns, I've read that. Batman Year One, I've read that. The Long Halloween, I've read that. Read Dark Victory, Hush, I've read that. Arkham Asylum, and The Killing Joke. I think those are all the ones that the sort of series that I've read. You've
read them all then? You're hardly a casual.
No, because there's loads more. There's like there's like a huge Batman lot. So none of sort of the modern stuff, though. I know Tom King, I'm I'm pretty sure he still writes a Batman, and so that he's a good writer, but his people have been mixed on his current sort of run on Batman.
Is he the one that got Batman's dick out?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was him. That was when. Well, I mean, I don't know whether that was either him or whether it was
just the artist that.
Yeah, I can't remember the artist. Worth
name. Some money though, isn't it? Because they pulled it, and it's worth some money now if you've got the original print.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But have you seen it?
I've seen like stills on the internet. Yeah, Batter Wang.
Sure, yeah, mate. So regarding like I call it the spectrum because it is sort of, there's like on one end it's very light and camp and bright and stuff, and then the other end is sort of dark and brooding and almost sort of nihilistic. And I think the reason why I say I'm a casual fan is because I've got a threshold regarding those comics. Like I sort of lost interest in reading Batman stories after I read The Killing Joke, because I just thought this is too much for me. Like it's too nihilistic. It's too.
Did you see the film?
Yeah, actually, I have seen the film.
It's universally hated, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Is it? I don't know. But to be honest, loads of people love that comic, and I think I'm the only one that really was at that point. I was like, this is too much. So that those that don't know, to Andy and Dave, you may not know that that's a comic where it's basically about, it's sort of like Joker's origin story. But I mean, fucking the last part of The Killing Joke is when, what does he do? He basically he ties up. So Joker breaks into Gordon's home and basically kidnaps Gordon, and then basically then he sort of puts him in some sort of carnival ride, and strips Gordon naked, and then as Gordon's going through the carnival ride, it's basically big giant pictures of his daughter being beaten up, and basically just they want to sort of break Gordon. And I remember sort of reading it thinking, fuck, this is too much. Like, geez, I don't want this from Batman. Like, I don't want this from a Batman story. So yeah, I think I've got a threshold. And so, but regarding the films, I mean, I really look fondly upon practically every Batman film there is, other than those Snyder films. And also, I'm sorry, guys, you guys have recommended it to me about rewatching Dark Knight Rises. I still can't get on with that film.
Have you rewatched it though?
Yeah. And
so I went to see that at an open air screening at Woollerton Hall in Nottingham, which is where they filmed the scenes for Wayne Manor.
Nice.
Right.
So if I remember, I'll send you the picture, but when we were leaving, they projected the massive Batman symbol on Wayne Manor as such. Cool. I was just like, this is fucking quality. You know, when you've had like 6 beers after watching a film, walking back like, oh my God.
It's because, I don't think anyone's talked about how good those Tim Burton films are, but I really like them. I think they're brilliant. And to be honest, I'm sort of in a minority where I actually prefer Batman 1989 to Batman Returns. I think what I love
I do. I don't like Returns at all.
Well, but I really like Returns as well. But the thing is that, so the thing I love about Batman, okay, is that as a kid, I remember just being obsessed with detectives. Like I remember drawing myself as a detective and, having this sort of like, pretending I was a detective, and then always sort of loving like detective stories. I used to sort of sit down with my dad to watch episodes of Columbo. I just loved the whole sort of the visual of sort of wearing a trench coat with a hat. And so why I really sort of loved Batman, and it was sort of subconscious because at that point they weren't really calling him a detective, but those sort of, what I love about Batman is those sort of noir elements, like the fact he's sort of hiding in the shadows, and there's like a femme fatale and sort of surveying a crime scene. That's why I love. My favorite expression of Batman is the animated series, because this is a hot spicy take for that I feel it is a no-brainer, but no one really thinks this, is that I think Batman belongs as a TV show, because the thing is that if you want to tell Batman stories, it's as this film that we're going to talk about, it's best to show him as a detective. So if it's as a detective, have it not even serialized, but you could have like a villain of the week, sort of like Columbo, where at the beginning you see the villain, it's not a whodunit because you see the person actually commit the crime, but it's about how Batman solves the case. And, you will love the Arkham games then, man, because they're obviously like 20, 30 hours long, and it's mostly just doing detective shit. Detective shit, fight a load of guys. Detective shit, you fight a load of guys. I mean, the thing is that I don't think I've sort of experienced enough, watched enough, or played enough for those Arkham games, but I really don't get on with like the visuals of those games, because it's all sort of it's what I don't. So that's one end of the spectrum regarding like the design of them. Like, it all looks a bit too like a cover on a heavy metal album or something like that. It all looks, rather than, I love the sort of old, the Batman animated series. They're driving. I mean, Andy will speak for this. Like they're driving those sort of old 40s cars or whatever.
Yeah, it's not like that. No, it's very gothic in like the gothic like buildings and stuff, but the cars and stuff are all modern.
Yeah. It's where I like the whole sort of old timey sort of gangster part. So my favorite, comic run is the Long Halloween, because that is a proper it's a detective story. It's about a serial killer, and basically every sort of issue in that series is basically a different villain, and then Batman profiling that villain to see if that person is a serial killer, and it's basically the Harvey Dent origin story as well.
Well, so you could talk about the Batman as well, because that was loosely based off, or parts of it were loosely based off Long Halloween.
I mean, to be honest, the closest anything's got to Long Halloween is probably The Dark Knight, because of the whole Harvey Dent thing. But That's why I love Batman 1989, because it feels like an old crime noir film, and I think where I think Batman Returns, as much as I love that film, Batman Returns falls short is that it loses that sort of in the fact it's like a city, and Batman's hiding in the shadows and stuff like that. It kind of loses that, and it kind of takes it. My problem with Batman Returns is that it doesn't really feel like a city. It feels like most of that was shot in a studio. What it feels like as in they're like big sort of studios and stuff like that. So but then again, Batman Returns, I mean, that was that. I'm sorry to put this visual in your head, but Batman Returns was responsible for my puberty. It was for my early puberty. I was like being a kid and watching Michelle Pfeiffer do all that stuff at 10 years old. Jesus, I mean, just like completely. But yeah, so like that was sort of but as I said, like the animated series, those first two Batman Burton films, the Long Halloween, and you know what? I remember watching Batman versus Superman and thinking, I never want to watch a Batman film again.
Have you seen Twitter today, by the way?
No, but
trending was Batfleck and then a picture of a goat, Batfleck.
And
goat.
You know what? After watching the Batman, it really makes me pissed off, to make me sort of feel that, like, forget about what was great about Batman. Like, it really annoys me that, because I love this character. It made me remember. It just reminded me that the Batman reminded me, as in this film, the Batman. It reminded me what I love about the character, and I was like, fuck, like, you know, this is what I've forgotten. And the reason why is because of these films that were made, and someone that completely misunderstanding that what I find great about Batman. So yeah, but anyway,
I'll give those films those dues though. I thought the design of the Batman suit, not the black one, but the grey one from Batman vs Superman, when that still was released of him wearing that suit, I was like, holy fuck, here we go. This is the Dark Knight Returns. Let's fucking have it. But yeah, I think that Batman vs Superman, I love that fight in the warehouse, because I was just like, this is just like a fucking Arkham game. This is unreal.
Yeah, that is cool. And the dream sequence was awesome as well.
I know I'm completely against the grain here, but I find I don't watch a Batman film for the action scenes. Like, I just love the whole, you know, as I said, like surveying a crime scene and, you know, hiding in the shadows and all that stuff. I love that side of things. So,
but he needed to be a fucking tank when his shit goes down, man.
Well, anyway, I think because we've been talking quite long, so let's get into the Batman. So yeah, for the viewers, big warning here, we're going to go into spoilers, so we recommend you watch the film before listening to the rest of this. So Andy, what were your expectations of the Batman before going in?
Right, so I tried not to like watch anything, like know nothing about this film, and unfortunately, I've seen a few little things just because social media popped up. So I saw like the what turned out to be the Riddler, like masking the person's face. So I was thinking, okay, this will probably be quite cool. And I remember on the way to the cinema to meet you thinking, oh, it was really weird. Like, I was looking forward to it, but I was thinking, I just can't be bothered to sit through an opening 30 minutes where Batman's parents die and then he like falls down a well. You know what I mean? I've done that so many times. I know who Batman is. I know the origins. So I was a little bit like, oh God, this might be like, you know, the bit samey. And then the movie started. I couldn't have been more wrong. It was,
okay, all right. Well, we'll get into that though. But yeah, so you're sort of you just basically. Like so I guess the ignorance ignorance was it?
Yeah,
it was just
and my relationship with Batman over the last few years has changed a bit because I don't know. I was just a bit bored by the fucking Henry Cavill and Batman, and I'll just be like, oh meh, like what the fuck is all this? Like, bring back the fucking glory days of Michael Keaton and stuff. So
yeah,
you know, and I love the Dark Knight and stuff. I absolutely love it, but it's I just felt a bit Bruce Wayne'd out, you know, millionaire playboy, falling in swimming pools, buying hotels and all the rest of it. I've seen it so many times. So I was a little bit like, I hope this is a bit different.
Okay, how about you, Dave? What were your expectations of this film?
Well, unlike me, I did end up watching that teaser trailer. I couldn't resist it. And I was excited. I was really excited, but I didn't have too many expectations, so to speak. I had no idea how this film was going to roll, and ultimately I was very happy with how it rolled, but I didn't really have much to it. I just loved the presence that Robert Pattinson brought to it, and I was excited by that. I was excited to see Robert Pattinson on screen, basically.
You're a big Robert Pattinson fan, aren't you, Dave?
Like a little teenage girl. Absolutely.
Nice. Great.
Harry Potter, Twilight, you love them, don't you, Dave?
Yeah, so it's funny that I didn't know much about this guy other than the Twilight. So I was kind of like, fucking hell, who is this guy like? I'm just like, what the fuck? Like,
Kyle, you've seen What We Do in the Shadows, haven't you?
No.
I
told you the week I've not seen it.
It's Robert Pattinson in that.
No, but basically this guy gets this guy gets kind of turned into a vampire, and then they're out on like a Friday, Saturday night, and like he's like going, Twilight! That's hilarious. And you're like, shut up, stop saying Twilight, when they end up starting a fight and stuff like that. Anyway, yeah, sorry. Okay, cool. Thanks for that, Dave. How about you, Kyle? What were your expectations going into this film?
This is going back years now, but I remember there was first talk about Matt Reeves doing it with Ben Affleck, wasn't there? And to be honest, I was quite excited for that because the premise was going to be that Batman has to sort out a load of shit in Arkham Asylum, and then he has to fight Deathstroke, and Deathstroke's been behind it all. And I fucking love Deathstroke, man. Great character. And he's probably like Batman's equal when it comes to like combat and stuff. So yeah, I was really excited for that. But then obviously, did Ben Affleck say that if I end up doing another Batman film, if I end up being Batman again, I'll drink myself to death? So yeah, he kind of said, no, I'm not doing it. And then I think like everyone else, I mean, when they said it was going to be Robert Pattinson, it was like, fuck me, really? But I've done that before. I did that with Heath Ledger for the Joker, and I did that with Anne Hathaway for Catwoman. I was like, oh, fuck off, come on, really?
Really? About Anne Hathaway?
Yeah, because I just thought I only knew her from like Devil Wears Prada, or is she in that? Or whatever rom-com shit she'd been in. So
had you actually seen The Devil Wears Prada at that time when you judged it?
Like on and off, when like Laura was watching it and I was like kind of in the room and just like, oh.
Do you like it, Shafi?
It's a great film.
I'll have to check it out. But I know what Carl means. She's not that kind of sexy femme fatale. But then, yeah, proved us wrong.
But we're all
Have you seen the screen test? Her screen test of
no.
Geez, she properly sexes it up in that screen test. Like, but okay, cool. All right.
What's the link?
Shafi.
Anyway,
yeah.
But yeah, so
Shafi goes through puberty again.
Yeah, I saw the first trailer and I was like, "Fuck, man, this is looking pretty good." And then you sent another trailer and you were like, "Maybe don't watch this trailer." So I was like, "I've not watched anything since then."
Okay, cool.
So yeah, I watched the first trailer, which ended with the upside down business. And then,
so that's the second trailer.
Since. Oh, is it? What was the first trailer then?
Oh, I mean, I guess the teaser, and then there was the trailer, I guess. Yeah.
Okay. What was the first trailer then? What was the teaser? What did that show?
So the first teaser was the Nirvana song, and you must have seen that. You did see that.
I would have done. Yeah, but I can't. Mate, come on.
Okay, so if you're back then, Andy, what were your instant reactions when leaving the cinema? Just a few lines.
I haven't been that happy leaving the cinema for years, honestly, years. I was actually like, fucking hell, I was on such a high. Like the last time, the last Bond film, I was like, when I left that, I was just shocked. I was like, Jesus Christ, I was just complete shock. And like, a few other movies have been good, but it was absolute joy. Like,
Nice.
Fuck it, honestly, I was like, you probably could have told, like, I was just so fucking happy about what I just experienced.
So you sent us a message, didn't you? And your message about 50 times said "fuck Marvel."
Yeah, because it was so like, I won't go into this right now, but just the fucking, when I left, I couldn't believe how grounded the realism was. Just like, fucking hell, this is what I need. Like, because it's mad actually. Like when I was sat in there before watching the trailer, the Doctor Strange movie trailer came on, I was like, fucking hell, this looks amazing. And then I watched the Batman.
Sorry, Andy, just to let you. So it was me and Andy. We watched it together, and Kyle and Dave watched it separately. And then what happened was, before the film started, Andy and I played a game where, at the end of each trailer, we were scoring a film based on their trailers.
Here we go.
Right, let's do this now then. Do it now quickly. Tell us what the trailers were and what your scores were then.
Right, so one of the trailers, right, was Channing Tatum and Sandra Bullock.
Oh God, that looks
in
like
the
the worst
jungle.
film ever
And
made.
she gave it 10. I was like, you
10, it's great.
fucking mental.
Anything with Channing Tatum gets a 10 from me.
No.
Channing
do-
Tatum, yum.
There was this other one.
I love that joke. That's one of the best jokes. Sometimes I like to call him Channing Tate Yum.
One of the trailers was called Nope, and that looks fucking mental, that film, I think.
That's the Jordan Peele film, yeah?
Oh, that looks shit.
Oh my God, I couldn't. Is it called
terrible.
Nope.
Yeah, Nope.
That's what he said.
Every
I
trailer,
thought you said nope. I was like, what is that?
every
All right.
trailer looks awful. I was just like, oh my God.
What, the Nope trailer?
Yeah, that looked rubbish.
That
Oh.
looks fucking
What?
incredible.
Looks amazing.
Shut up, Dave. I'm
The
muting you.
alien invasion.
Well,
thing.
we don't know it's aliens. They don't
know what it is.
We haven't confirmed it. What it is. We don't know.
Then we had the Fantastic Beasts. which was like I gave it a 1. But Shafi just gave every trailer 10. I don't know what was like taking an
It's got Matt Nicholson though, man.
Batman. It's like 10.
It's got the big Mads.
Yeah, that is true. He did look pretty cool in that.
Shit.
Well, I gave every trailer 10 except Doctor Strange.
I'd have given every trailer nil points. Fucking awful. I was so bored.
The trailers were quite
a million adverts. So many adverts.
Okay, back to it, Andy. Go on, back to it. So go on.
Sorry, what was the question? How did I feel?
Well, yeah, how did you feel? So I think you already answered the question, don't you?
Yeah, I just honestly, absolute elation.
Okay. Okay, how about you, Kyle? Just a quick few lines of how you felt
walking
after
out?
leaving cinema. Yeah.
Yeah, well, to be honest, I walked out, I was like, oh shit, was there a post-credits? Because I just left. Was there a post-credits?
There was, but it's basically a URL for a website, and then the DC trailer for like all the DC.
Have you been to the website? I went there.
They give you riddles, don't they? Is that right? They give you riddles.
Yeah, so it's Rat Larder, and then you go there, and it says downloading.
El Rata Alada or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you go on it, and then it just stays loading at 26%, doesn't change, but there's a link above it, and then that link above it takes you to like these like hieroglyphics, and you've got to work out what it means, and like somebody's already worked it out. It's all over the internet, but how they figured it out is insane.
But yeah, other than that, I was like, yeah, this is as good as I thought it was going to be. Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Cool. And how about you, Dave?
Yeah, like I really enjoyed it, and my first thought was I need to watch it again. I have to see this film again.
Yeah, there's a lot of plot in there.
Yeah, I have to watch it again. I do have some problems with it, which will probably make me unpopular, but it's one of those ones where I'm just thinking I cannot wait to watch that again. I need to watch it again.
Well, I've got problems with The Godfather, man. You know, everyone has problems with everything.
Okay, cool. Right, so let's talk
except
about...
Except for RoboCop. Perfect.
Fucking right.
That is close to a...
It is actually, isn't it, when you think about it?
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about what we loved about the film then. So
fucking hell, yes.
Let's start with you, Dave. What did you love about the film?
Robert Pattinson.
Okay.
I love the presence he gives. When Robert Pattinson is sort of in the middle of a gang of dudes, that's when I get excited.
What?
Let's just say that. Yeah, I get excited. I just think he looks great.
So for the viewers, Kyle is putting his hair in the style of Robert Pattinson. It's not doing a very good job though, because he looks more like Hitler than anyone else. So.
My centre part is about an inch thick because that's how bold I am.
That's good, Kyle. You should go back to that.
So Robert Pattinson. Anything else you want to say about any other positives?
I like the look of it. I liked I kind of like the furniture and how the rooms looked inside everyone's houses. I really liked it. It harks back to that sort of 30s, 40s look, which certainly suits Batman. What else did I like?
You could have Googled the production designer, Dave, and told us who it was, but never mind.
That's a bit complicated for me. I love the way it looked. I love the fact that it was darkness constantly. It was really, really set a great, awesome tone that I greatly enjoyed.
So talking about the production design, so this film was designed in VR before they shot a single thing. So basically the production designer created each set in virtual reality. And then what Matt Reeves did, he went into each set in virtual reality, and he would sort of modify, he would basically talk to the production designer saying, oh, can we move the stairs here because this character's going to walk out this way and all that stuff. So everything was created in VR before. And that's how they sort of designed a lot of the shots as well. Him and the director of photography, Greg Fraser.
Production designed by James Chinley.
That's how kind of they composed a lot of shots.
Requiem for a Dream.
Wow.
They busted Requiem for a Dream. The Planet of the Apes films. Avengers Assemble.
Blimey.
That's it. Wow. Okay. That's some other stuff I've never heard of. But...
okay, so cool. Right. Anything else, Dave? It's quite short.
No.
Okay. How about you, Andy? What did you love about this one?
Actually,
let's go to Kyle, because I know Andy's going to go for a while. So let's go to Kyle. What did you love about this film?
Ba-bum, bum, bum, ba-bum, bum, bum, ba-bum, bum, bum. The score was fucking, especially in the first 20 minutes, like the score was like non-stop.
Yeah.
Didn't cut out at all. I was like,
Yeah.
fucking hell, this is really good. And it was, just to be honest, it was that same motif for a lot of it, but loved it, man. Proper loved it. The cast was
Well
great.
said,
There was
bruv.
no one in the cast that I thought, I don't like them. Yeah, it was dark. It was moody.
Yep.
Yeah, I loved it, man.
I agree. The opening was very much like Hitman. If any of our viewers are familiar with the Hitman game, that's the music. He's sort of, you can hear him breathing whilst he's sort of scanning the sort of where the guy was. That really was Hitman.
That was Riddler, wasn't it?
Yeah, I assume so. It must have been. Yeah.
So that's like Dirty Harry as well. The guy from Dirty Harry is like with the binoculars on top of that building and he's scanning around.
And it also shows the sort of parallels between Batman, Bruce Wayne, and the Riddler, and the fact that because Bruce Wayne does the same thing later on in the film when he's that was a really cool way to open the film. Anything else you love about the film?
No, just let Andy go on a rant now.
Okay, go on, Andy.
Basically, this fucking film was made for idiots like me. It is so.
No, I wouldn't say
good,
that.
so.
It's quite complex, the plot.
Yeah, no, I'm only joking. I'm not really calling myself an idiot. It just ticks every single box for me. So I need to shout out to Robert Pattinson, because even the way he played Bruce Wayne.
Shout out to Robert Pattinson.
I fucking shout out to him, mate. Like I fucking love the way he, like Batman, obviously, like what a fucking badass motherfucker. But his Bruce Wayne was so fucking well done. And even like the whole film, Robert Pattinson didn't even need to speak sometimes. The way he would just look at somebody or like, you know, a little nod, his eyes, it was fucking incredible. Like even the mad things, like it's amazing. And talking about his eyes as well, I just love the way that, like, if you look at the Michael Keaton films, one minute he's got black eye makeup on, then he'll take his mask off and there's no fucking makeup on. Well, fuck that. In this film, everything in this film was like played so real. I don't have a problem.
They consciously did that. So they did a screen test. Sorry to interrupt, Andy, but so Matt Reeves did a costume test with Robert Pattinson, and when he with the mask on, and then when he took the mask off, Matt Reeves looked at him and went, well, that's actually a really cool look for Bruce Wayne anyway. And in a way, it's sort of, because he said, I imagine Bruce Wayne more like a rock star, like someone who, you know, so he has that, he has the Cure makeup, the Cure type of makeup and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And it's interesting we're talking about that part of it, because I think, as I was sort of watching the film, I was thinking, how are kids going to react to this film? Because in a way, you guys can sort, all us sort of man babies can sort of, kind of jizz over the film and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, the studio makes these films for, it's still a superhero, and a superhero that will have a toy made out of it and all that stuff. So how are kids going to react against the film? And I feel like this is probably going to be this like generation's The Crow, because it has that sort of same brooding,
Sorry, you mentioned the word The Crow and Dave just disappeared for a wank.
What do you think of that comment, Dave? What do you think that, as in, kids would watch this in the same way that they sort of watch The Crow and think, I like that aesthetic. I like, now I like the idea of putting on this sort of goth makeup and sort of being, not being comfortable in my own skin and all that stuff. What would you think? Do you think I'm over egging it or not?
Well, no, even before you said The Cure, I was thinking, obviously, when you've got a pale guy with black sort of makeup like that, you can't help but think of The Crow. But yeah, it's a really interesting one. I guess the film's kind of similar, sort of, aren't they? And this sort of creates a not quite real environment that they live in and stuff. Yeah. That's a really cool way of looking at it. Like you say, the commercial appeal of the Crow film isn't like a big budget Hollywood superhero movie at all, is it? And it's an interesting balancing act. But maybe just as Bruce Wayne, you can find the Crow. Yeah, good point. I like it.
Okay, sorry, Andy, but carry on, please. Yeah.
No, always interrupt. Please do, because you talk absolute sense. I talk rambling nonsense.
No, go on. So what else? Yeah. What else?
This next bit, you would be able to articulate this better. But the big thing for me, like I've been thinking about this a lot, was just how real, like everything in this film that happened, I could imagine happening. So I was thinking about, like, you know, Mr. Freeze and all that big crazy shit going on, and the Dark Knight trilogy as well. Like when I was watching it, I was like, that does feel real and stuff. But when you watch a film like this, I was like, oh, actually, fucking hell! Like there was a lot in that film that is a bit mental. Like, you know, it's always a nuclear bomb or something like this. But in this film, you know, even the end thing is just, you know, it's 5 or 6 vans that blow up and cause a flood. Like I can see that happening. Like, and I just like the way that this gritty realism, like, just fucking flowed through the whole movie. But then I felt there were like sprinklings of the comic book elements. So if you would have said to me, like on the way to the cinema, oh, by the way, there's a scene where like Catwoman breaks into a safe and then she's in the kitchen and a cat walks behind her on the top and she has a glass of milk, I would be like, fucking hell, this is going to be the shittest Batman movie ever. Like I could have written that. But they pulled it off majestically. So I loved the way it just kind of, like, you know, nodded to these things without making it silly. I also like, there was a bit of humor in this film as well. Like the thing where the guy's thumb gets cut off and the Riddle is like talking about the thumb drive. That's funny. Like the film needed a bit of shit like that. So
I've just got to interject quickly. I was on Reddit today and I was on the Batman subreddit. And one of the posts was, I have severe PTSD about losing limbs. And I've heard that in this film there is a scene with a severed thumb. Can someone tell me what happened so I can go to the toilet during this scene? It's like, oh, poor guy, you can't even watch the Batman without like freaking out because of a severed thumb. But everyone's quite good. They're like, yeah, when they start talking about when they go to a garage, just go to the toilet and you'll be all right.
Yeah. So talking of garages as well, like naturally, I love those scenes. Like the way this movie is shot. Like Shafi turned to me in the cinema at some point and asked me, did I arrive at the cinema on my motorbike? And I said no, but as soon as I get home, I'm going out on my motorbike because this film shot those city rainy scenes where the motorbikes are just cruising around. What colour's
your bike?
Mine's white with
black spray paint. Blue. Black spray
paint. I've already done it. I did it immediately when I got home. So that was just awesome. And
have you ever worn a cape while on your bike?
Every morning on the way to work. And today,
just get like a black bed sheet and just tie it around.
It's caught in the back wheel and then you go flying. Literally.
No, game over. Well, actually, so the car scene. But talking of flying, what I also loved about this film is it was like, I don't quite know how to say this, but when he fucks up the fall, right, and he fucking smashes his face into the bridge and stuff, it's like he's not formed yet. So it's not quite an origin story, but he's not quite the Batman yet. You know, I think the whole point of this film was he kind of, at the end, it's like he's been going about it the wrong way. Like it shouldn't really, he can't be telling people I'm vengeance, because then the criminals just say it back. And it needs to be more about hope, and he needs to be more of an icon. So I just fucking love that. And then other things like Colin Farrell as the Penguin, I couldn't believe that was him. I could not believe
so
it.
Good, right?
He's getting a TV show as well, isn't he? He's getting a Penguin TV show. Yeah.
Honestly,
that's a big commitment, man. That makeup for a whole TV show as well.
Well, yeah. Andy, you were talking about the humour of it. I thought it was so funny, that scene when he's being interrogated, and he's like, and they show him photos, like, why are you showing me that? And then they talk about the clue about El Rata, and he's like, don't you guys speak Spanish? What's wrong with that? It's like,
the world's greatest detective.
They do a little nod. That's my point. Like, well said, Carl. Like, the nods, you know, that is a fucking genius line, that. So, and loads of other stuff, Shaft. Like, I love the relationship Batman had with the police. You know, the police viewed him as a vigilante. Like, why the hell is this freak in the crime scenes and stuff? Like, it all made sense. I like the Riddler, the sort of Zodiac killer vibe that it had. Like, I couldn't take my eyes off the screen. Like, everything about it, the way it was shot, the contact lenses thing, you know, like thinking back to The Dark Knight, I was like, oh, okay, he's got a mobile phone and it's a sonar, like a bat, blah 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 blah. But this was next level. Like, I really really like the way they used that tech. So yeah, fucking brilliant, mate. Absolutely brilliant. Like, fair play to everyone involved. And I also I think when they were shooting this movie, there was like an insane amount of problems going on with COVID and the pandemic and stuff. So you didn't feel like anything was rushed. Like 3 hours, I was really worried about falling asleep, and it flew by. So if anyone hasn't seen this, don't worry about the length of the film, because it's spot on. It's yeah, I've got nothing but good things to say about this movie.
It didn't feel long, did it?
Not really. Not 3 hours. It felt like 2 hours to be fair.
I mean, I did have to go for a piss twice, but that was the beer. But yeah, it didn't feel...
The worst, the only thing I'll say about the film that was bad was the fucking idiots in front of us eating popcorn. Like, the noisiest...
Oh, my God.
Like, something's got to be done about that. Like, I thought Shafi was going to get up and murder somebody at that, like,
just
5 minutes in.
Just stop rustling it. You don't have to rustle it.
So annoying. Cinemas need to do something about this. Like,
please don't rustle the popcorn. Just eat it quietly. And choose your times when.
It was actually the worst audience I've ever sat with. Like, people were up and down, left and right, coming in late. Wow. Like, it was outrageous.
There's
really
a group
outrageous.
Of boys, and they're like, and it's like they were taking turns to like get up and leave.
Really weird.
The first like 5 minutes is quite quiet, so you're conscious of it.
Yeah.
But then, because I was so soaked up in the film, I sort of ignored my surroundings.
Yeah. And finally, the final thing I'll say on it is I love the way the film just demanded that, like, there was no like cocking about. It's like, I'm Batman. Like, I'm Robert Pattinson and I'm fucking Batman. Let's just get on with it. And his entrance as Batman into the film, you'd be hard like, Jesus Christ. There were two bits that
Have you seen that trailer then, Dave, where he fucks up the guy?
So I'm so pissed off myself. So that, because of that trailer, I knew what the car looked like. That would have been a nice surprise. I knew that guy gets fucked up beautifully. And I also knew that guy's head was going to explode like Arnold Schwarzenegger style in The Running Man. So I'm just furious at myself. But I did really love that trailer. It was a cool teaser. But
because I know with the Bond film, you were loving the bit where the car was spinning with the machine guns, weren't you? We'd seen that in the trailer, and you'd obviously not seen that, and you were like buzzing over it.
I know, I literally, oh my God, yeah. So I'm annoyed at myself because I really am annoyed at myself because I'd love to have, the first time I saw that car was during that gunfight, and then it's like, what the fuck, mate? I thought, but never mind. God, it was good, wasn't it? Fucking hell.
It's fucking amazing, mate. It's amazing.
Like you say, when Batman's just in the sort of house during the murder scene, he's just sort of wandering about. It's just it is just surreal, but it's so awesome as well. And like, what is he doing here?
That thriller element I loved, and that really lacked in like the Ben Affleck ones. It's like, oh, fucking hell, right?
I read a thing a long time ago about the definition of a badass, and it said like a badass doesn't expend any energy. He doesn't need to. So like, you know, people are nervous and they're like sitting down, twitching and moving. A badass will keep perfectly still because they don't need to expend that energy. And when he's in that room, he is just stood perfectly still, and his eyes are just slowly moving around, looking at the room. Like, this guy's a badass.
Yeah, absolutely.
God damn right.
Oh God, I actually talking about it now. I wish I was getting up tomorrow and just going to the cinema and watching it again. And I've not said that with any other movie we've ever done.
Yeah, that's awesome, isn't it?
Should we talk about negatives then, or?
Yeah, I'm happy to go first.
Well, actually, can I just talk about my positives then about the film?
Yeah, sorry, mate. Yeah. Shafi, what about you, mate?
So there's a lot of positives.
It's always me that's got to say it. It's always me that's got to say it as well, man.
Because they don't care.
If we ever get famous, we should have T-shirts, and that line should be printed on it.
I thought it would be, I'm sorry Meryl Streep wasn't in the film. That's what I thought.
That was a shame.
Oh, no. That episode's coming out next. We can't talk about that.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Well, there's a hidden joke for everyone. But anyway, so the thing is that let's talk about that. Still go on about the opening of the film, because I think I said this in, basically Kyle asked us to record our sort of reactions going out to cinema, and there's a point where, so, you know, you see that opening with the Riddler, and then what happens is that the music starts, and you hear Bruce Wayne's narration as we're seeing sort of shots of the city and, people sort of random people doing crimes. And then, Bruce Wayne narrates that people think I'm hiding in the shadows, but I am the shadows. And basically, there are all these people that are committing the crimes. They're seeing the signal, and then they sort of they end up getting a bit scared and sort of intimidated. And then there's basically that fight scene, which is brilliant, right? It's just so like what. So okay, let me just stick to what I'm saying. So then he goes back to Wayne Manor, and then you see him take off his contact lens, and he has this, it's sort of like a camera that's installed in his own eyes, and he goes through everything he's done that night. And as he's doing that, he's writing in a journal. And then you see sort of these extreme close-up shots of what he's writing in the journal. And what he's writing in the journal is what he's narrating. And I remember at that point, I was like, fucking hell, this film is for me, because that's what I love about Batman. I love the whole noir elements of Batman. And regarding like voiceover and narration, it made me think, how come no other comic books do that? Comic book to screen adaptations do that? Because I'm not sure, I guess I'm the one that reads comic books out of the group, but I would say about 50% of all comic books I read, they all have those narration boxes, no matter what character it is, not just Batman. Loads of, even like some of the lightest, like, Marvel characters have kind of the narration boxes. Yeah. And I was just thinking, fuck, like, considering we've had so many like superhero adaptations, comic book adaptations, why are we not getting more voiceover narrations? Now, a lot of people find voiceover narration, I think there was sort of a snooty way to look at it before, where they're like, oh, well, it's lazy storytelling and stuff like that. But I think voiceover narration works in a lot of films, like Goodfellas, that has
exactly.
Really, really great
voiceover narration. What did we text about saying I didn't like it? What film was that? Then you said you're not going to like the Batman.
Well, no, that's talking about something else, because I remember you talking about Dune, and you're saying that people whisper in that film. I said, well, you're not going to like the Batman because
there's like, it was a voiceover thing. Right, okay.
But then you said about Blade Runner, you said you didn't like the voiceover narration on that, the theatrical cut.
Yes, that was right. Yeah.
But some people like that. Some people prefer that.
It
sounded really corny, I think.
No, it was just to me. But it was Harrison Ford just couldn't be asked to be in that room doing it.
Yeah.
He was just like,
yeah. But I tell you what, there is a comic book adaptation which starts with the voiceover narration, and it's very similar to this film. And what film do you think I'm talking about?
A comic film?
Yeah.
Watchmen?
No. Not
Rorschach. Rorschach's got
the opening.
Never going to get it. Go on.
What's the question?
Yeah, Watchmen, surely, because it's like a comedian died in New York tonight.
But I don't think, but doesn't it start with the Bob Dylan song? Doesn't it?
I can't remember.
Oh, yeah, it does. It's kind of, oh, God, that's shit, that thing.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, it's a montage. It's almost like a montage.
So it's shots of the city that this comic book is set on, and the voiceover sounds very similar to this film, and what he's saying about the city
Spider-Man 2.
is very similar as well. No?
Give us a clue.
Yeah, give us a clue.
It was a film that wasn't that much of a big hit. It kind of flopped a bit in the cinema.
Well, yeah, roughly, or sort of roughly 5 year. Give us a 5 year window.
Oh, come on, man.
Right, hang on. It's the question: what film opens with narration?
Yeah, but also it's just very similar to this film. It's very similar
comic
to
book
Batman.
film.
Yeah.
7.
No, it's a comic book adaptation.
Okay, yeah. No, but it did remind me of 7 quite a lot, this film.
Okay, shall I read it out to you? Because I've just downloaded the script.
Got him.
Yeah, read. Oh, that's cool.
Okay. I'll try and do the voice as well, because the voice actually sounds quite similar to Robert Pattinson. But
If you do the Manchester voice,
Oh,
I will
shit.
leave
I'm just
this
about to do
podcast.
it, mate.
Do the Manchester voice, so to
New
not
York
give it
City.
away.
New York
Okay,
City.
all right.
All right, mate.
America is an eradicated wasteland. The
Oh,
cursed
Dread.
earth.
Dread.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
legend.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
shit.
Oh,
course.
yes, mate.
But it's really
And
similar.
a
That
radiated
opening,
Yeah.
that opening is very similar to. You could swap those two. Well, actually, yeah, I posted a link to another podcast which talked about. Did you guys? I guess you didn't.
No,
No one
of course
heard that,
not, mate. I haven't got time for that podcast.
So the thing is that they actually say that if you take the dialogue of Taxi Driver and put it in the Batman, it would be very similar. You wouldn't sort of kind of think differently because they're talking about the same thing. But regarding Dredd, America is an eradicated wasteland, a cursed earth, in which a single outpost of civilization remains, stretching from Boston to Washington. I think it goes on longer actually than what's in the
it's
script.
really long.
Yeah. But it's really well written,
good.
and it's really well done because you hear those sort of drums sort of slowly pat along of the score until he says judges, and then it goes, and then you see the Dread thing.
Mega City 1 goes from Washington to Boston.
Yeah.
Washington DC.
Wow. I know that, but it's still fucking immensely big.
Yeah.
I just remember sort of just when that was happening, I was like, fuck, I am all in, because that's what Batman should be. It should be, there should be voiceover narration, and it should feel like, we should know what's sort of going on in his head and how he sort of feels about the city and how he feels about each character that he's interacting. And I wish there was more voiceover narration.
Well, he does it in the Arkham games. When he's solving the crimes, he talks to himself about...
Oh, really? Right.
Yeah.
Another thing I really liked about this film, what Andy was saying about the realism of the film, what I thought was really cool, the way they changed, they sort of did a little slight amendment to Batman's origin. In fact, they're hinting that it's actually Alfred that trained Bruce Wayne, which I think it checks out, because in those fight scenes, he's not like a great ninja who sort of eliminates people just like that. Just like what I was saying about what I like in action scenes in our previous episode, is that, a lot of the time he's actually getting hit. He's more like a brawler than a ninja.
Is that made clear in the movie, Shaft? Like that it's Alfred?
He says, I trained you myself.
He said, I trained you. And what I really love about that is basically saying that the Batman, in a way, isn't just Bruce Wayne's creation. It's got to do with Alfred feeling like he failed the Wayne family. So he's like, well, because I was absent during this time, I wasn't there to protect them. And the fact is, so then from there on, basically Bruce Wayne is sort of like a child soldier, because he's training. He probably thought, well, I've got to now I've only got Bruce. I've got to make sure he protects himself. Yeah. And this is and that's how. So he's basically what everything you see regarding him being able to combat and stuff like that. That's all got to do with a soldier training him in order to sort of, carry on with his life. And I really like the idea that he hasn't gone in this journey where he's sort of trained with these ninjas and almost sort of like supernaturally hiding in the shadows and being able to sort of pull enemies out of nowhere and stuff like that. I like the fact that he's actually, when Andy was talking about realism, he doesn't sort of just, fall out of the ceiling. Well, he does actually do it in the film, but he just kind of creeps out of the shadow. And
he's a hard bastard, basically.
Yeah, he's just basically a hard bastard. Yeah.
But I like both.
In Gotham and in the Pennyworth TV shows, he's like ex-SAS dude who's just like hard as fuck.
I think that's been the case in a lot of the but a lot of those butlers are kind of ex-military, aren't they? In real life, like they're so. I really like that they've sort of done that, because I think going when we talk about downsides of it, is that I really wish they had more Alfred and they sort of explored that side of it, in the fact that, as I said, like this is part of Alfred's creation, and it's got to do with him feeling like he failed the Wayne family, and this is his way of kind of making up for it.
I thought one criticism for me is that he was underused Andy Serkis, who was like really barely in it, wasn't
Yeah,
he?
yeah, yeah. So
And,
I wish we'd
and
seen
what,
some
what
more.
I didn't really
yeah.
get as well is that they didn't fucking Bruce like hates him, didn't he? They don't get on at all.
Yeah, but I think the
It's only
reason
when
why
when the bomb goes off that he's like, shit. This guy's my
I mean,
friend.
I don't think he hates him. I think the fact is that I think for someone like Alfred seems like he's got his head screwed on.
Man. You're not my dad.
Yeah, he's like he's got his head screwed on more because he's like, well, listen, in order for you to live, in order for you to sort of live in this nice mansion and continue the the way that you are, we have to do the things. So like meeting up with an account. We have to meet up with account. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I think that it's part of Bruce's development is that he'll have to sort of learn that he has to sort of put on the facade of Bruce Wayne as well as sort of, I think Robert Pattinson said in the interview, Bruce Wayne, if he had his way, he would want to be Batman all the time. But the fact is, and that's what he's sort of learning. And the fact is, I think what Alpha's trying to drill into him is that you've got to do this other stuff as well. But yeah, there you go.
What was Batman's first origin story then? Was it Ra's al Ghul and all that? Is that the first origin story?
But that was
80s, wasn't it?
Yeah, but that was never really. That was never sort of described in the comics that much regarding his origin. It was always a death in the family and all that stuff. But how he got his
skills.
Yeah, how he got skills, that's never really sort of explained down to a T in the comic. It was only sort of Batman Begins that sort of acknowledged that, to be honest. But I might be wrong. So Batman fans, if you want to send in some comments to correct me, but I'm pretty sure that it doesn't. It's not really explained that well. But
Ra's al Ghul has been in comics, I'm sure.
Yeah,
definitely.
But I kind of prefer this origin. The fact is, he's just been taught to be he's had this sort of military training that Alfred had. I like that idea, but done through the filter of being this sort of dark, like vigilante, So
this film certainly didn't need a kind of Mr. Miyagi flashback. I don't think it really needed anything along those lines.
Jesus, no.
Yeah, that would be
terrible. I don't know. It would have been cool just to see Alfred and Bruce Wayne sort of converse and talk about things while Alfred's on the pads with him.
Maybe they'll develop that.
They might have done that in Gotham, though.
Well, he's got a limp, though, hasn't he? So he walks with a cane, doesn't he? So
yeah. So just very quick, that's what I read earlier. So there's an alternate timeline in the DC called Earth 1. There was some similarities with this film. So Thomas Wayne was running for mayor when Martha was murdered, but in that timeline it was Cobblepot that did it and not Falcone. So his mom Martha has got mental health issues in that one as well, and she's part of the Arkham family. Alfred lost his leg looking after Thomas Wayne, so that's why he's got a walking stick. He's got a false leg.
Wow, blimey!
And in that timeline as well, Alfred trained Bruce. He's a former Marine, and in that as well, Batman and Bruce didn't really get on. Batman and Alfred didn't get on. Sorry.
So another thing is sort of the craft of this film. So, one thing I think is sort of being said regarding the discourse of this film and stuff like that. But it is just so cool to see a sense of authorship in white films like these, because some people would say that Marvel films they feel very sort of cookie cutter, where any director could have sort of stood in. Where this really feels like someone, I keep on just thinking about how kids are going to react to this, and I remember watching Carrie at 13 and 14 and seeing how Brian De Palma does the split screens and it does slow-mo and stuff like that. And I hope sort of kids watch this and go, wow, this is what a director can do, if you get what I mean.
A split screen is so freaky, isn't it? Just messes with your mind.
Another thing I love about this film is and I feel like no one's talked about this, is as in regarding sort of Twitter and stuff like that. No one's talked about the voices in this film. I love one thing is that it's interesting because people sort of always take the piss regarding Christian Bale's Batman voice. It's a choice, isn't it? It's something that sticks out. And I think everyone has a sort of unique type of voice in this film, I think. So Bruce Wayne stroke Batman, it's interesting, like he talks in a certain way in that suit, but then like as Batman, he's someone else. He's kind of got a bit of a mopey voice as well. So there's one scene where he realizes that there's going to be a trap set up for him back in Wayne Manor. He's like in a panic to drive back home, and then he calls like the maid at home, but he actually talks like without that Batman voice, and it's only then you can see there's a distinguishment between the types of voices he has. And as I said, because of that voiceover narration is so in your head, but also like fucking there is a hot spicy take, but I actually think Jeffrey Wright's Commissioner Gordon, I think it's Lieutenant Gordon as well.
Lieutenant Gordon,
he's my favourite Commissioner Gordon that's been.
That's not spicy, man. A lot of the internet's saying he's like definitive Gordon.
Fucking hell, that voice is just so like it's just that voice. He like really sort of plays up that sort of I don't know what you call it. It's like a deep sort of like gravelly voice, growl. And
mate, you've not seen What If, have you?
No. Oh yeah, he plays the Watcher, doesn't he?
Yeah, the Watcher. Yeah, man. It's like the reason they got him, obviously, because he's got that deep, gravelly voice. Yeah.
Have you seen Game Night?
Yes. Yeah, I can't really remember it, but yeah, is that Jason Bateman?
Yeah. Game Night. He does like a really tiny cameo where he's basically it's about like them. Loads of sort of stuff happens, and they think it's actually like a game that they have to sort of interact with, but actual murders happen and stuff like that. And Jeffrey Wright is sort of like a paid actor who like comes in as an FBI agent. He comes in an FBI agent, and he sort of has that voice, that gravelly voice, when he's like talking about the thing that's happening. But then, like in the middle of it, he goes, "Oh, by the way, can you make sure that everyone switches their phones or something like that?" Like he sort of he can switch it on and off like that, and it's like it's really like, as I said, like that voice. Also, obviously, Colin Farrell's voice in as the Penguin. Yeah. It's like, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I think possibly it's partly to do with how good the actors are, but I think probably it's got to do with how good the sound design is. That everything can sort of stick out like that. And I really love just the sound of this film, and hearing people's voices has got a lot to do. But yeah, what else? Okay. Well, let's talk about any negatives then. So, how about you, Dave? Because I think you probably got the more negative opinion out of everyone on this film. I think, right?
Yeah, only to the extent that I might give it 9 out of 10 instead of 10 out of 10. But yeah, one thing. What was it? Okay, this is. It's like I've never watched the film before. I hate myself for this, but I do have a problem with this in films. Is if you're the Batman and you have a real strict rule that you're never going to kill a villain, you really shouldn't be responsible for a massive crash on a motorway that probably killed hundreds of innocent people. And things like that really do stick in my mind, and I can't see past
So you're talking about the car chase?
Yeah, because he doesn't have to really chase.
That's a good point.
The Penguin, he doesn't have to chase him down. He doesn't have to chase him down. He knows where the Penguin is and stuff. And that caused an insane crash. I'm glad they had it. I'm glad they had the car chase, but it didn't need to have 4 petrol tankers simultaneously explode.
Yeah.
And I thought, so I wish that was just a bit of more of a raw, realistic car chase.
But don't you think that's just Bruce Wayne letting his anger sort of take over, and there's part of his flaw as well. He's not thinking. It's sort of like part of his learning curve.
Yeah, but you'd have to stop being Batman then. You can't. It's like Team America when they turn up in Paris and they're like, we saved the terrorists, but they actually blew up half of Paris in the process. So it really, really, really doesn't sit well with
me. It's so fundamental to Batman's DNA, isn't it? Don't hurt anyone. Well, no,
but think about it. Like,
so to then
fucking Ben Affleck's like shooting people with machine guns on his car. Ben Affleck kills fucking loads of people.
But that's killing bad people. That's fine. That's all right.
No, Batman doesn't kill at all. Batman and Spider-Man do not kill.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I
Fundamental.
like that. So if you accidentally cause that whilst doing your vigilante work, it's just wrong. You cannot do it. Just let the Penguin escape and chase him another day. And again, in a similar, I've got a problem with how much Batman got shot. Like he got shot constantly, and I just feel like he didn't need to get shot that much.
How could he have survived?
I don't want to say how did he survive that. But you can't get shot like that. Even the Terminator struggles when he gets shot many, many times, it kind of drops him a little bit and takes him out of his kilter. So I really was annoyed of how often Robert Pattinson got shot in this film, because obviously one in the head and he's dead. So that annoyed me. I felt like
that Cal's bulletproof.
Yeah, okay, just in his face then. He could get shot
in
the mouth.
In the face, yeah.
And that is deadly if you get shot there, because it goes through your spine.
Remember that line out of Dumb and Dumber, where he he shoots him, and goes, "Well, what if you shot him in the head?" Goes,
that was a risk we were
what if you shot me in the head? Yeah.
So good. Yeah, so I have a bit of a problem with that as well. I'd have rather, if anything, there were less guns, as weird as it sounds. Yeah. But there you go.
Don't know, man. That scene there in the hallway where it's pitch black and all you see is the gun flare and then Batman just taking people out. That's fucking quality.
Yeah, I remember Andy sort of just turning to me after that scene going, that was fucking awesome. I remember.
I couldn't believe it.
Because he didn't get shot that often.
It reminds me of
not getting shot.
When Darth Vader comes at the end of the film.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because that part was in one of the trailers. And then people were doing it's the same director of photography.
Wow.
So they were doing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Because he shot Rogue One, didn't he? So
I don't know. Did he?
Yeah, he shot Rogue One. So then they did. There's like two gifts that were those two side to side. So yeah.
Awesome, mate.
Greg Fraser.
Yeah. And so just you guys know.
He did your favourite film, Dune.
Yeah. So the thing is that one thing that you guys may not know, I think, Kyle, you might know about this regarding The Mandalorian and stuff like that, is that how they shot, there was some of those shots. So, the shots where they're at the top of the skyscraper and they're looking at the sunset over the city and stuff like that, and they're having these scenes. So that was actually done. It's not a green screen. It's basically they're projecting that on an LED screen. In
The Mandalorian, it's called the round, I think they call it.
No, it's the volume, I think, isn't it? The volume? Or
possibly, yeah. But no, I've seen obviously the behind the scenes stuff for Mando, and it's fucking insane. Now, when they're doing behind the scenes stuff, though, it doesn't look that great because you can see them and it's obviously off. But it's weird how they use AI to let the camera. So when the camera moves, the background moves in sync with it. Which is fucking insane, man. Because Lucas owned that technology, so they've obviously let other people use that.
Right, okay. Well, yeah, but it's weird because Greg Fraser shot The Mandalorian, did so that's the thing.
Is he? Oh, yes. Sorry, 3 episodes. Yeah.
So that possibly that's his
series
technique of doing things. Yeah.
In fact,
so
episode 1.
Yeah. So that it's interesting. Like they're not actually on top of that building. It's all actually in front of the screen. But yeah, I think that's a really
Andy,
cool
did you knew that about Mando, didn't you?
No, I didn't. That was fascinating.
Yeah, so all of it is just like
I had no idea.
Sorry, the only bit that they did film outside was the episode with Boba Fett in series 2. That's the only episode. They were filmed on top of a mountain, but the rest of it's all filmed in like a room with just big screens, basically. Yeah.
Shaf, you need to get into The Mandalorian. It is fucking quality.
Okay.
Shafi hates Star Wars.
So, Dave, what else didn't you like about the film?
I didn't particularly like the kind of just what those flight suits called. What they called? Oh.
A wingsuit.
I didn't particularly like the wingsuit scene. It was quite funny when he first went out because it looked like he was scared of heights, but it was the light because he's so used to living in the darkness. So I got a bit of a kick out of that because there was a moment there where I thought they were going to say, "Oh, Batman's funnily enough afraid of heights." And yeah, I always feel like in those scenes they don't need to have a close up.
I took it as he was scared of heights.
I thought it was the light.
He looked terrified.
I don't think he was scared of heights, but he wouldn't have done all that shit with the grappling and all that stuff. But I think it was one of those moments like, whoa, I'm higher than I thought I would. So
he was generally scared. Okay, cool. Yeah. Oh, no, nice. Yeah. So yeah, I didn't really like that. I don't know what it was. There's something about that. I just didn't think it looked very good. I'd have rather had maybe someone actually do it in a mad situation and you just film them like a Red Bull kind of thing. But again, I'm really like nitpicking.
Are you talking about the way it was shot? Like you just saw his face?
Yeah, I don't like that. Yeah, no, when it's sort of when they sort of green screen, like in James Bond films where it's just suddenly a close up of Roger Moore skiing, and it's just like, it just doesn't need it. I don't.
They did film some They just filmed some scenes on top of the Liver building there in Liverpool, if you saw those behind-the-scenes shots.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So, but obviously he was a stuntman, not...
So I'd have rather just seen a stuntman do it.
There's a lot of shots in this film where it is like the camera's fixed on people's faces. So that car chase, a lot of it takes place of where the camera is actually fixed on...
Oswald
on their faces. There's actually not that many shots of actually outside of the car. So the fact that you know what's going on in all of those moves, and it's in soaking rain, is like a testament to how good the craft is of like making these films, because you're all you're seeing. I mean, not all you're seeing, but a lot of what you're seeing is just them in that side that car.
No, it's great. It's again, it just shows the importance of it.
What's that Spielberg film where there's a truck
Jaws.
chasing the car? E2.
Jurassic
What
Park.
about Duel?
Yeah. So that's very much his reaction, isn't it? He's shitting himself because there's a truck behind him trying to fucking kill him.
Yeah, I know. That's awesome. I'm just like my point was when you when you suddenly get a shot of the James Bond actor on the green screen, and it's just so unnecessary. It's like, we know it's not them doing it, so don't try and create this weird illusion because it's just laughable. So honestly, oh my gosh, like listen to Shafi talk about it, listen to you talk about it. And to some extent, Kyle, it really has just made me think, God, what a film.
To some extent, Kyle?
Yeah.
What's wrong with Kyle?
Well, because I don't know.
Back in the editing room,
it's just how it is. It's just how it is.
Kyle, you're the producer. You just shut up. Just be quiet.
Oh, fuck me.
It just reminded me of things
you've ever said.
Well, I've forgotten how good like the opening narration was and stuff like that, because you do forget stuff, don't you? It's just hard to remember everything in a 3 hour film. And I'm just, I'm blown away by it. I'm thinking about it now.
You've got no excuse, Dave. You went at 11 in the morning. You weren't drunk.
I know. It's hard to watch a film during the day, though, because if you watch a film during the day, you're more likely to completely forget about it. But the good thing is, at least in the cinema, the good thing about the cinema is you don't have those distractions. Even just it being
fair enough.
Like, even when it's like bright outside, it seems kind of weird watching a film.
Yeah, you're right. At home, it's very much, I'll just look at my phone, whereas the cinema, it's like, not doing that.
Well, no, I'm good for that. I never look at my phone or anything, but it's just, there's something about daytime. There are just more distractions, whereas if it's night, you can sit in a pitch black room and nothing exists but you and the film. Whereas during the day, there's just more noise, more distraction and stuff. But the good thing about the cinema is it doesn't really matter.
Okay, cool. Thanks for that, Dave. What about you, Kyle? What were your low points to the film?
Yeah, I didn't think the ending was big enough, really. I like a big ending, and I just thought that the just fighting some guys on that thing.
I thought you preferred a happy ending.
I just was a bit underwhelmed with the kind of the action at the end, really. But other than that, like 2/3 of the way through, I was like, this is fucking unreal. But then, just could have been a bit bigger, I think.
Okay, that's what she said. What about you, Andy?
Mate, I guess this isn't the film's fault. It's my fault for being too stupid. But there was a lot of plot, and even now, when I'm trying to think back to what happened, I'm always a bit like not totally sure I followed everything that was going on. So, like, for example, the mum, like how his parents died. I can't really remember what happened there.
I think it's a little bit deliberate. It is kind of left open at points, isn't it? Where no one really knows exactly what happens with these rich families, and they all have their secrets and stuff. Yeah. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. And then the Carmine Falcone stuff can get a bit convoluted. It's like, wait, how did they actually set it up? Was he always a fall guy, or So I think it's open. It might be open to interpretation. You never know.
So okay, cool. Well, that's good. So there's that. I don't really know if
maybe it's really obvious and I just missed it.
Yeah, well, me too. And then people screaming that as we were saying.
Exactly.
But so actually, let's get into that. So Thomas Wayne went to Moroni because some guy was going to leak some stuff about Martha Wayne having mental health issues. Yeah.
So then that's the thing. Even the Moroni and Falcone, their names are too similar.
Yeah. Moroni, I'm still a bit.
You never see him. You never see him.
So you never see him. So Carmine Falcone is John Turturro, and then because who's the bigger boss, or that's what I find weird, or did they set each other up? I'm not sure.
Moroni was the big voice.
Yes, Moroni is Eric Roberts in The Dark Knight.
So where is Moroni then? Is he in jail?
He's in jail then, isn't he? Yeah. But did Carmine Falcone set him up though, or did the police set him up? It's weird. It is hard. It is a complicated plot now.
Yeah, Falcone didn't he? Because he's the The
I
rat.
thought, yeah, he's the rat. He
Yeah.
said put the rat under
Yeah.
the light.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess that's my kind of like, Christ, there's quite a lot of plot going on. The only character, like Falcone, I didn't get on with the actor. I wanted him to be a bit more gangster. That's the only thing. I'm not sure that.
Wait a minute, what? Your mate from Men in Black you didn't like?
Yeah.
He is
That's
one of the
the
most
thing.
versatile. He's one of the most versatile actors you'll
Who's the in Men
ever
in Black?
find.
Who's the
But
in Men in Black?
I kind of agree with you today. I don't think
He's
he's
in the
Who's
first
the
one,
in
isn't he?
Problem with him in this movie.
No, he's not.
Hold on.
He's not in Men in Black. He's in none
I'm
of
sure
the Men
he
in Black
is. I'm
films.
sure
He's
he
not
is.
in Men in
He's
Black.
not. You're talking
No.
about the shopkeeper. Is that who you're talking about? The guy who's in the
hold on.
Monk TV show?
Hold on. Oh shit, yeah, I might be actually. Hold on.
If you look at Monk, the
Yeah,
TV
I know
show.
who you mean. Yeah, because he was in Mrs. Maisel. Just delete all this. Ignore that. Sorry, I thought he was in Men in Black. He's not. Fuck me. He's in Transformers though. I know he's in that.
It's in the night of as well.
Have you started drinking, Carl? What's happening?
Yes, yeah. He's been drinking the whole time. He's
Right,
like,
so
he's a Coen Brothers favorite, and when you
Yeah.
that's where you see just how versatile he is. He's one of those people that they look different in films and they sound different and they're just different.
yeah,
Big
I just-
Lebowski. He's in that, isn't he?
the plot was a bit much for me.
It was hard. It was hard to follow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But do you?
Yeah,
You're saying it's hard to follow, but do you know what it was? Or because did the police sort of? They say it was like biggest drug boss ever. And did the police then just become the drug dealers
Yeah,
themselves?
basically, yeah, they did. Yeah.
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 With Falcone.
Yeah.
So was that always the plan? Or did it just go, do you know what, actually, seeing that we've got all these
I didn't
drugs
get
now,
into
rather
that.
than just,
I don't think I got
should we
into that.
just sell them? And the penguin, what, he just saw it? He witnessed it? Because the penguin,
Yeah,
it was
well,
made
that's-
up that the penguin
that's-
was a rat.
No, he just works for
That's-
Falcone.
He just works with Falcone.
Yeah.
It's just because he's just
But
none of
Dave, I do like the fact you say regarding the ambiguity of some of those plot details, because I like the fact that Alfred has a different take on how Carmen Falcone, because in a way you could finish that film thinking, well, I haven't got a clear answer of what happened, because in a way I like the idea that Alfred basically is biased. He's got like actually no, he's actually like, no, Thomas Wayne actually didn't want that person murdered, but he's just watching that with a very blinkered vision, and maybe Thomas Wayne did actually want that person murdered.
So what one review I read was it gave it 1 out of 10.
Wow.
And it said, if you want 3 hours of people talking about Johnny Pepperoni and Tommy Macaroni, then this is your film.
That sounds like something Mark Kermode would say. But anyway,
I was like, no, you're wrong, mate. So in the comics, then is Catwoman Falcone's daughter? Because when they announced that, I was like, oh shit, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's in the Long Halloween, I think.
Okay, so Falcone is the guy from that Sheffield film in the Batman Begins, isn't he?
Yeah. He's Tom
Wilkinson.
Tom Wilkinson. Yeah.
But
what's the name of that Sheffield film?
Like that.
Full Monty.
You mean
Full Monty? Yeah. Fuck, how did I not know that?
Yeah. Well,
haven't you got the poster up on your bedroom?
You're going to get kicked out of Sheffield now,
I
Carl.
know, man. Yeah.
Sean Bean's coming around to kick your ass, personally.
It's a fucking Full Monty, Carl. Don't you know about it?
Great Sheffield accent there, mate. Yeah. You got to do your Kel Brook for Sheffield.
The Full Monty, I love that. I love it when they start taking off their clothes and they all look really like dead handsome in the crowds. Okay, I'll just talk about my negative things. So,
I generally thought you wouldn't have one. I generally was hoping.
I do. I mean, one thing is that.
Well, this is going to be mid-90s. He's going to say something that we're not going to get what he means.
No. So one
get your
big
dictionary out.
I tell you what, one big fucking negative thing is I really, really fucking hated that Joker scene.
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah.
Now the thing is that this is something that I feel like a lot of these, this seems to be, well, not even a trend because it's been going on for a while, but who out of here watched the BBC Sherlock show?
Series 1 and then didn't watch anymore.
How about you?
I love that.
Andy, Dave?
Yeah,
no, I'm so sorry.
With Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yeah. So the thing is
awesome.
that in that first episode of the BBC Sherlock show, it's about a cab driver who's going around murdering people. right? And then basically the final act of that episode is basically he's like sitting down one to one, with that cab driver, and the actor, I don't know who he is, but he's really good and he's really intimidating. He's like really creepy and stuff like that. And then what happens is that as he's about to die, he says, I can't remember what actually happens, but I think Sherlock says, like, who is it that made you do this? And he goes, Moriarty, and then like dies. So basically it's saying, oh, well, if you think this villain's bad, then you got to wait until, the villain that creates him. But then when Moriarty actually turns up, he's this sort of all singing, dancing, almost like camp, like not intimidating at all. The Daniel Craig Bond films did this as well, where they have to undercut your current villain by saying, oh, well, if you think this person's bad, wait until you see this person. And it really annoyed me. It really pissed me off.
Is that definitely what they were doing there, though? Is that definitely what they're doing?
It's not that they were doing it, but it kind of annoys me that it's not necessary. Paul Dano's fucking amazing in this film. It's all about voices, actually. I forgot about Paul Dano's voice. That voice, even before you see him, when you hear him on the phone and stuff like that, his voice, is kind of dark like that, and it's really sort of intimidating. And even like behind the glass, he's sort of very intimidating as well. When you finally see him, he's got this like clean shaved face with these glasses. And then what happens is that he's like moping and sort of crying about his plan going wrong. And then there's someone in the cell next to him that sort of consoles him. And it feels like that person knows more than him about. Oh, I see. Yeah, that's a really good point. And it's like
Steven says, riddle me. Like, he says, riddle me this, doesn't he?
Yeah. It just really fucked me up. It's like, don't undercut. You had a whole film where he was practically an amazing villain, and you had this wanker who's next door. He's got this little kid's voice, and he starts like laughing and stuff. It's like, I just got really annoyed. The thing is, Matt Reeves, I saw an interview where he was defending it by saying, the reason why I put that scene is so important is because the point that Bruce Wayne says to Catwoman is regarding that he has to stay in the city is because it's to show that that's the reason why he's staying in the city, because there'll always be another criminal. It's like, bullshit, mate. You put that in because the studio told you we want a Joker scene.
100%.
100%. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, one thing is that I remember watching The Dark Knight and thinking, I don't want to watch a sequel. Like, I was thinking, The Dark Knight, that film was fine. Just keep it. Just end it there, end the arc there, because I don't think whatever you end up doing, I don't think you'll be able to better that. And that's what I feel with this. I don't want a sequel because all they're going to do, one thing is that the way like Batman 1989 to Batman Return, they sort of change the visuals of like the city and stuff like that. And same with like Batman Begins to The Dark Knight. Batman Begins, a lot of it takes place in what they call the Narrows, where it's basically, it's sort of like a no man's land of Gotham. And I thought that element was really cool, but The Dark Knight doesn't really even make reference to that. It just it takes you in this sort of big, bright, beautiful looking city. And I really hope that, let's say if they do continue this film, that they don't change anything of the visuals. Like, they keep Gotham exactly looking like it is. But anyway, but I mean, that really annoyed me. It felt like sequel bait. It felt like, no matter what intentions they had, it didn't come off that way at all. It just really pissed me off that I was so invested in this villain and it sort of undercut that. Yeah, it just really annoys me. Like, and I said, like, the Daniel Craig films does that a lot as well. If you think Le Chiffre was bad, if you think Javier Bardem's character in Skyfall was bad, well, wait till you see Christoph Waltz. It's just like I'm the author of your pain and all that shit. It's like, that really annoyed me.
So nothing online is confirming this, but when Bruce goes to the funeral of the commissioner?
Yeah.
Fucking crazy Trevor from EastEnders. Was it his funeral they're at?
No, it's the mayor's.
No, it's the mayor's
funeral. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. So when he pulls the car up, he gives his key to someone. I swear that's Barry Keogh who he gave his key to. But
really?
Nothing online is confirming this. Yeah. At the time, I was like, oh shit, it's Barry Keogh. That's rumoured to be the Joker. Mm-hmm. But maybe just some guy that I looked like him. But nothing online is confirming this. But
you did notice that I guess this is an obvious thing, but when he goes into the building and there's that guy that starts talking to him about how like the police are corrupt or something, that guy ends up being one of the people that person that he beats up at the end, isn't it? Right?
Yeah.
Which guy was that? Sorry.
So when he walks into the funeral, there's a random dude that he starts talking to, and I think that guy kind of like is like very cynical about the police and the corruption and stuff like that.
Oh, so he's one of Riddler's followers then?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. No, I didn't notice that, no.
Because that's why they made the thing about him, because he looks back at him thinking, is that really, that might be the Riddler, you know? But it's actually, right. But another thing that sort of, I did feel like didn't work was that last beat at the end regarding like him, the whole sort of heroism versus fear. Like, I feel like that's something that felt, it would have been better if they had that as like an ongoing like conflict for him, you know, that someone should be reminding him that he should be a hero, not someone who ends up just beating up people, but someone who that felt a little bit tagged on, because that wasn't on his mind throughout most of the film. And also when it's happening, you don't really know what he's doing. When he sort of swings on the cable and then he kind of cuts up, because you don't know that kid's in the, you know, stuck under all that stuff, do you?
No,
like,
but I did notice that it was hitting the water, that electric thing, so that's why he did it.
I think it would have been good to have seen like the stakes, basically, so that the fact that they were kind of, you know, drowning.
It happened a bit too quickly. It happened too quickly, that scene, didn't it?
Yeah. When we left, my friends were like, why did he do that? Why didn't he just jump? I was like, well, he's cutting it because it was touching the water.
Yeah. But I think, I don't know, I felt like that should have been an ongoing sort of conflict, because then that resolution at the end, the fact that he's saying, well, I'm not going to be here to sort of drive fear. I'm here to be a hero, you know, is a good thing. And a lot of people are saying it's very prescient right now, because what we're seeing in, you know, the conflicts is that all these sort of leaders are grabbing their guns and you know, being on the front line of the army. And it's like, well, really, should you be doing that? The whole sort of myth making, I guess, you know.
A couple of little bits in that scene at the end where Batman injects himself with that adrenaline, which he thinks is adrenaline. It's actually like this bright yellow and green shit. So is that like the Bane fucking stuff? Because apparently there was a comic run where Batman does get addicted to that. It's called Venom.
Wow.
Yeah. But obviously Bane's got it pumping through his veins like all the time, hasn't he? And also those twins that were like the bouncers at the club. Is that Tweedledee and Tweedledum? They're like very minor kind of Batman villains.
Oh, right. Interesting. Oh. Right. Okay, Andy, who's your MVP of the film? I think it'd be hard to choose an MVP.
Oh, God. It's got to be Batman. Got to be.
Okay. Robert Pattinson.
It's almost like he's in every scene as well.
Yeah.
Like, apart from that, you know, the sort of weird little ending, like, I can't really remember a period of time where he was absent from the screen.
Which is what like a lot of those noir films are. It's like your main character, your protagonist, is trying to figure out like what is happening. So you're just seeing everything. It's sort of like, you know, like Memento. Actually, Memento. You're it's like the unreliable narrator. So you don't know what is. You know, you're figuring out what's happening at the same time as the protagonist.
Yeah. So obviously, I'm going to give 2 if that's all right, because I just so fucking RP, big shout out, but do have to give a nod to Colin Farrell here. I know he's not in it a lot, he doesn't do a lot, but what he does do is first fucking class. So fair play.
Yeah.
And awesome. The car.
Do you want to talk about the car? Talk about the car for 5 minutes.
So Andy, no, wait. What? Because we did a game about it. What's your favourite Batmobile?
So the 89 version. Yeah,
sorry?
I think the
Tumbler's
cool.
It'd be quite difficult to park it though.
Bit ugly.
Don't need to. Like, just smash everything out the fucking way.
I never liked the Batman car from the originals ever. Like I always thought it was so long and it just looks weird. I never liked the Batman cars ever in the first 4.
Dave doesn't like length; he likes girth.
Exactly. That's why I like Tumbler. The Tumbler is just so cool.
So Andy, you're saying your favourite's the 89? Is that what you're saying?
Well, the 89, just because I just remember playing with it as a kid. But the actual 66 version, my dad had the Matchbox cars.
Oh, wow.
like in the old days, little metal
Yeah, yeah.
ones. I just always remember being in Scotland playing with that. So I do have an affinity for that. The I don't know if you've seen the Batman, the animated series, but the Batmobile in that is insane. It's so good. It's just sleek and long. It's almost like a limousine, and it just oozes wealth and power. It's such a beautiful machine. That
very slick.
Yeah, very slick.
Oh,
Do you
yeah.
know the
I
one
was trying to find the specs for those for the game, but I couldn't find it.
Yeah, the one. Funny enough, the Batmobile in Justice League is I do quite like that. That's quite gangster with a little gun turret on the top.
Do you mean Batman vs Superman? Is it in Justice League? Is it in Justice League? He has that weird fucking crab shit that climbs up the wall.
Oh god, no, yeah. So that's all right, but it's not a favourite of mine. But my favourite now, after seeing the Batman, is this one.
Oh wow!
Because I can imagine, right now it's
what is it? Do you know what car it is? It looks like a Ford, like a Mustang.
It looks like a Mustang, doesn't it?
It's like a 70s muscle car, isn't it?
Yeah, it's God. It's just I just love the back of it. Like I don't know if you noticed as well the motorbike scene as well when it was live. All of the vehicles that he was riding on or driving, just the back of them, the tips go up like the bat is just.
So it's a 1939 Cadillac Series 75 convertible.
Jesus.
I know.
I can see you driving around in that, Dave. There's also the Batmobile from the Lego movies,
sure about
which
that?
is
So
good.
I can't see Dave driving around in any car, but anyway.
I didn't mention the Lego movie because I've only seen half of it. Twice I've seen half of it. So
the Lego
first time the kids
Batman
were just like, I'm not bothered. And then the second time was the other day. I watched half of it and fell asleep. But I really love the scene where he parks the Batmobile and he's got like just a big wall of all the other Batmobiles from all the other films just in this wall.
Honestly, the Batman Lego movies are first class. Like, just so funny.
It's going into the Batcave. What's the password? Iron Man sucks.
It's just so
Mikhail was watching that the other day. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah,
just the opening bit where it's like it comes up. It's like, ooh, black. Ooh, the DC logo. Ooh, Warner Bros. Warner Brothers.
This is the little quote from Michael Jackson. Man in the middle.
It's a Chevy Camaro inspired machine that acknowledges the acclaimed Futura concept, but maybe with a little Ford Mustang and Dodge Challenger thrown in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's honestly, it's such an awesome car. Like if I could buy any of them, I would buy that one.
Nice. Yeah. Okay, cool.
Tumbler would be a bit impractical, wouldn't it?
Oh, fucking hell, Tumbler, yeah. See, the Tumbler's just too much of a tank for me.
Like, fuel
I
as
agree.
well.
I agree, yeah. What about you, Dave? MVP?
Oh, yeah. Batman, yeah. Sorry.
Batman. Okay, good. And how
we should have probably done it as who was the second favourite actor in this film? I really love Catwoman. I'll go with Catwoman. I really loved her. I thought she was amazing.
Man, she looks
hot, yes.
Sorry to all our... She's very intelligent as well, just for anyone listening.
Nah, I doubt it.
It's terrible.
And how about you, Kyle?
Yeah, Paul Dano for me. Dano. Everyone was great, but here, just like... There was the bit where he's in prison and Batman visits him and they're talking behind the glass and he realises like his plan's all gone to shit. Permission to be vulnerable on this podcast, but he's obviously got mental health issues, hasn't he? And he said a certain thing. He said like the way he started saying the word no and repeating it over and over is exactly what my son does when he's having a meltdown. So I was like, oh yeah. So in the cinema, I was just like welling up watching it. I was like, holy fuck, man, this is just what my son does when he's fucking on. So just so my son's got like it's not been diagnosed yet, but he's got some like learning difficulties and stuff. So but that I was like, holy fuck, man, this is intense. Like he's got it bang on.
Crikey. Because this podcast is turning into a therapy session now. It's good. It's like Shafi last week.
I know, yeah, fucking hell.
Yeah, but I love it's interesting. When throughout that conversation he kept on going, Bruce Wayne. And you think...
Did he know who he was then? So I was talking to my mate about this.
No.
He was just saying that.
He thinks he thinks Batman's an ally. That's what he thinks. He thinks that Batman is got the same doing the same thing as him. You know,
Right, okay.
Bruce Wayne during that scene thought he had been outed.
That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
Yeah,
It's
then
amazing.
he twigs, doesn't he? That, oh shit, he doesn't know what I'm on about.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
one thing that podcast, we'll cut this out, but that podcast made a really good observation that Andy was talking about Robert Pattinson using his eyes a lot, and whenever Bruce Wayne kind of looks at anyone, he looks at them in like a very sort of intimidating way. It's only when Paul Dano, the Riddler, starts describing Bruce Wayne that he's actually like looking down. He doesn't make eye contact with
Oh,
him.
wow.
Oh shit!
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah,
That was so awesome, that bit.
But keep that in, man. Keep that in.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
that's
that's
awesome.
brilliant, because it
shout out
really
the
looked like
podcast,
he was
man.
so
scared.
yeah,
Shout out,
There was
a shout out
nervousness. There was nervousness.
to Film Spotting. It's one of the best podcasts about film discussion and stuff like that. But yeah, that was a really good sort
Second
of
only
good
to Who Got the
observation.
Popcorn.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But I mean, I don't think it's that profound to notice that. You could see, because he was such a badass, like Carl said, throughout. But you could see that there was this weird moment where he was like, "Whoa, fuck, what's going on?" Especially because he's not Batman for those few seconds, is he?
Yeah,
He's more Bruce Wayne. So it's
Yeah.
that was fucking awesome. Yeah.
What's in his chest?
It's like a knife. He uses it to cut the rope, doesn't he?
Right, okay.
This is sort of Batarang, I guess, or maybe or not.
Well, because he didn't have any batarangs at all, did he? That was the kind of
Yeah.
one thing. Yeah.
Yeah, like because like in the comics and like it's like his go-to weapon, the Batarang, isn't it? But
Yeah, the Arkham games, I mean, you end up, when you start off with like a limited amount of weapons, but by the end you've got like Mr. Freeze's gun and all this shit. But yeah, so the Batarang is the main weapon. Yeah.
Yeah, you're just flying around.
Oh, God. What a film, man.
I mean, does anyone else have anything to say about
Yeah,
the film?
I got one thing, and not for discussion now, but viewers, if you want to write in, because one thing we haven't done is spoken about the suit much, and Batman's suit is obviously a massive part of the Batman franchise. So maybe if you want to shout out your favourite suits, what you thought about this. Did you miss the nipples? Do you like George Clooney? What did you think? All that sort of stuff. Be interested to read, and maybe some funny ones we'll read out.
So the suit is actually quite Arkham games-esque, especially Arkham Origins. Yeah.
Yeah. So apparently they went to they've gone to like what some of the special military operatives would wear in Vietnam, like the boots and all that sort of stuff.
Okay.
And, like mirroring some of it on that.
What I didn't get was on his wrist, he's got all these look like darts or sticks.
Studs.
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't really find out what they were. He didn't use them or anything. So
Yeah, I think that was
Maybe
in
the sequel.
Ninja 2 when they put the bamboo. What was it? What's the guy's name? Scott Adkins.
I don't know. We've not recorded that episode yet, Andy. What are you on about?
Oh, sorry. Can we not then?
Do you know what, Andy? You that's a film that you'd really like, I think.
Yeah, it looks brilliant. Actually, I reckon the acting's as good as this.
There's blow darts. There's blow darts, aren't there?
Meryl Streep's in it, isn't she?
Apparently.
Yeah, she was brilliant in it. I remember. This is outrageous.
Nice. Okay. Anyway.
It is outrageous.
Okay, so
One word reviews.
yes, one word review. So
I don't have one, but let's go.
It's the one word review. The one word review. The one word review from us to you.
Except for Carl, who says, "Oh, that's fucking quality."
let's start with Dave. Dave, what's your one word review?
Vengeance.
Nice.
Okay, and how about yours, Andy? Your one word review.
Oh, well, I want to say the real deal, but that's free. So I'm going to say fresh.
Ooh, Rotten Tomatoes sponsored.
Fresh. Okay, how about you, Kyle?
Enigma.
Ooh, cheeky.
So let's pretend that never happened.
Shafi, we might have some new listeners because this is obviously a cool modern film. Do you just want to do a quick chat about the episodes we've done recently and what's coming up?
Yeah, just Google it, mate.
Okay, there we go.
No, I'm joking. Our basically the premise of the show is that one of us picks a film. It's sort of like a film club, I guess. Is that one of us picks a film and then we all watch it and we discuss it and we just take it in turns for someone to be
the rule is that we've not seen that film, but it's quite a loose rule, really, isn't
it's
it?
very much a loose rule.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'd recommend if you've watched No Time to Die, we did an episode on that.
Oh, yeah.
You might have watched Dune. We did an episode on that as well. I'm trying to think of the big films that we've done. Mortal Kombat, we did an episode on that as well.
Yeah, The Wailing is a big episode as well, which is a Korean horror film. Basically, start on like episode 10 onwards. That's when it gets good.
Yeah. And if you really, really like it, go back. But otherwise, don't.
Cool. All right.
Cool. I'll do the outro then. So please get in touch with us. Please send any questions, comments, praise, hate mail, or one-word reviews to the popcorn postbag at whodroppedthepopcorn@gmail.com. Or like, follow, harass us on Twitter at whopopcorn or on Instagram at whodroppedthepopcorn. You can also leave a review on your podcast app, and please remember to like and subscribe. You've been listening to Who Dropped the Popcorn. Really appreciate it. See you soon. Bye.
Laters.
I'm Batman. Shadows.